Come on, load. Okay, it should be working. Should being the optimal word here. Don't you just love having to wait for things to work? It's a thing. It's a thing. Load times. Back when I was younger, this was the normal thing you had to deal with. Come on, space engineers. Doop doop a doop a doop. Doop doop a doop a doop. A doop a doop. Doop 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 doop. I may edit this out later. Okay, finally. Now we get to stare at a black screen for the next couple of minutes. Hey, wait a minute. They're using a mod to make that. We don't have those 4 long parts in there. Let's go to the Village Tank Battle Redux. I tried making this video a while back ago, but it kind of petered out because it turns out that I hadn't actually been recording the video for that video the whole time, so what can you do? Duct tape and baling wire it all together. Shoop doop a doop doop a doop doop doop. Shoop a doop a doop a doop a doop. Do you believe in playing a video game? Alright. Welcome to Tank Battle Redux, which involves that little red-topped village over there, which is supposed to be the main battlefield. Now, as you may have noticed, there's quite a selection of badly textured tanks here. Gotta wait for those to load. Also, Keen Software House. If you ever watch any video that I ever make, rounded metal plates, please. I need them for my fenders. Just rounded metal plates, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, looks like the T-3485 is loaded, so we're just waiting on the M41 Bulldog. That is what this is, right? This is the 41. Great, I gotta get into it so I can check. Okay, this is... yeah, M41 Walker Bulldog. And yes, the turret and the hatch do tend to clip against each other. I tried to make this as close to the actual tank as possible, but that's nearly impossible within the limitations of Space Engineers. Simply because we don't have access to a lot of the necessary features in order to make it work. Actually, you know what? Leave you open. Now, for the record, pretty much every tank I have here... you know what? I'm going to move that turret just a little bit so the hatch can open all the way. This is the only tank I've designed where you have to rotate the turret to open the hatch. I could probably fix that at some point, or I probably should fix that at some point. But at the moment, that's not my priority. Also, we have over here a Russian T-34-85, complete with the larger than natural turret. Yeah, this is actually way, way too big, but I had to make sacrifices in order to make it actually work. Got some fuel tanks, so it can, and they're piped in, so you can actually refuel this thing. Oh yeah, to open the back hatch, yes, there is a back hatch. This is access to the O2H2 generator. Like most of my tanks, I tried to design it to be as functionally realistic as possible, meaning it does have all of the piping necessary to actually work. Now, the only downside I have with this is, in order to close the hatch, you then have to get under here and press the button. That is something that I didn't deal with when I designed the tank. That's kind of my fault. I could probably move that, but I'm afraid that if I do, this entire thing's going to fall off. And then I'd have to rebuild the whole thing. Now, like it says, all of these are piped up. They all have all the necessary equipment, including turrets and all the fun stuff that you would expect to be in a tank. This is the Churchill, I think I called this one the Churchill, yeah, this is the Churchill Mark IV. Has 2 seats, unlike the standard Churchill, which this is one of the few tanks that has a 3 crew capacity, even though the 3rd crew member does absolutely nothing. They're literally just there. Technically, you could call it an auxiliary gunnery position. Like, say someone shoots this side, takes out the seat, you can just hop over to this side and jump in. It does have a driver's seat right there, complete with driver's hatch. Everything's set up. Also, this side has a Jeep. A good old-fashioned American Jeep. Complete with the working cannon. It is also piped up. I believe it can pull. Now, these are just storage. They're spare ammunition for the cannon. You can actually manually load the cannon if the situation calls for it. Like, say you're in a battle and you run out of these three boxes right here and what's in the magazine. Instead of trying to rely on hidden ammo supplies in the vehicle, you can just jump back here and just grab the ammo out of the boxes, since they are all full. Then we have the M3 Lee with its sponson. And yes, the sponson does have its own chair. You can shoot practically 100% sideways. And to a far more limited extent over in this direction, to the left. But it's predominantly intended for shooting forward. Now, you do have a fully functional upper turret, but it is a smaller caliber gun. So, while you have it, it doesn't do terribly much. If it wasn't for these rounded pieces, I would probably try and shrink. Well, I need it to be slightly higher so I can aim the cannon up. Next up, we have the infamous M4 Sherman. Now, this is the command tank variant because I slapped a flag on it. That's literally the only difference, besides the fact that this one has a machine gun. This one does not. This is the generic version. Both of them have completely identical backs, complete with connectors for easy loading. That does work, surprisingly. I was not expecting it to. The armor is decent on the Sherman. You've got a driver, you've got a radio operator. Radio operator controls this machine gun right here. When you're in that seat, you basically are supposed to have that, but I didn't actually set it up. Yay! Brilliant. Okay, what I actually need is block weapons, Gatling gun. Okay, that is a problem. You're not supposed to be able to shoot that from there. Oh, that's the problem with block weapons. Okay, you know what? Let's do this the hard way. All Gatling gun. Since you can only really shoot forward, you kind of need that. Okay, that should be the radio operator's periscope, which is connected to the... I don't know how that is still set up. Don't ask me why that's working. I disabled that. It shouldn't be doing that anymore. Okay, this one is set up the exact same way as that tank, which means I probably need to jump in here, and yep, that's what I was afraid of. But the difference is, you only have this gun. There is no secondary. So, aside from, the obvious problem... Did I just lose sound? Yeah, I just lost sound temporarily. That happens every now and again. Space engineers loves doing this kind of thing. Where it'll work for 1 second and then it'll just be like, nope, denied. Scene too complex. Yeah. What do you expect? This is your spawning bunker, I guess you could call it. Basically, you're supposed to spawn here and then drive out to the battlefield. I set up all these... The problem is, since I don't have this set up for actual multiplayer, you can't use any of this stuff. Yeah, I'm probably going to post this on the workshop so that you can basically jump on this map, download a copy of each one of these, or not really download a copy, but, you know, just use the in-game mechanics to copy this so that you can choose your tank to go into the battlefield over there and fight stuff, or fight each other. Now, there are 2 more bases. There's Team Green, and then way off in the distance, on the other side of town, is the original opposing team, Team Blue. Now, as you can tell from those names that you can just barely see, and from the things you can just barely see from here, there's some more vehicles on each one of these bases. However, for the sake of argument at the moment, I'm just going to do a video on these vehicles. I may start the other one later to give you an idea of what else is on this map. I mean, you already saw the names of several of those vehicles. Now, the thing is, each one of these, except for the hull on this one, the hull on this one, these, the hull here, I actually downloaded from the workshop, and the same with this one. I downloaded the hull for this from the workshop. It was actually a different modded tank. or a different tank that I downloaded and heavily, very heavily modified. This one started out, this one is also heavily modified, but the outer shell, the way the tracks are set up, the hull, I actually downloaded these from, where is it? Give me a second. Yeah, you can see what I have available here. Churchill. Yeah, from the Churchill gun carrier mod. This is or should I say the advanced Churchill gun carrier. This version is heavily modified. It's actually closer to a tortoise than a Churchill gun carrier, but still, that's what it's called. The one they had machine guns here, and this turret didn't actually work. Well, it sort of worked. But it was designed to be like a super futuristic advanced doomsday turtle. This one is not. This one was more closely designed to the classic model. And then I took it, and I basically built an actual rough representation of a Churchill tank using the same resources. Now the T-34 is loosely based on someone else's design, but this one I had to hand build in order to fit the bigger turret on, and also modify the engine and everything else. So while theirs may have been the inspiration, this model is completely original. Especially considering it has this. And as you could see, and as you saw earlier, this has a fully opening hood with an engine down there. Batteries, the radiator, that's how you load the H2, the O2 H2 into it, in order to power all the gas tanks that are in it. There was a version of this that I designed with a machine gun instead of a heavy cannon here, but for the purpose of this battlefield, you need the big gun. Which is to say that that little dinky thing ain't gonna be worth anything in this fight. Neither is the machine gun, it's more like just to cause the enemy to back off. Now I actually designed this one with the wheels facing inward as opposed to outward, as that's roughly, and I do use the term roughly very loosely here, roughly how the actual Sherman was set up. However, due to the way the wheels work in this game, there is a huge gap in the armor wherever those wheels fit. But by the same token, they're also partially protected by the armor. These wheels don't do anything, so it doesn't matter if they're not protected. However, you can just basically blow off the whole wheel section. Kind of like a real tank. This one, more generic. Wheels are just in a line. Same way with this one, wheels are just in a line. Same. So really the Shermans are the only ones that I designed with the unique wheel patterns. And that's because I was kind of trying to get them as close to the actual model as possible. I loosely based the design both on a toy Sherman I had and the one that you can find in Tank Mechanic Simulator. That's how I got most of the design features for it, and a little bit about the turret place, or the placement of that, the cupola. It's not perfect, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but it gets the job done. Also, I believe the command tank is actually one block thicker than the standard model. Yeah, the command tank is one block thicker than one block on each side thicker than the standard model of Sherman. I think it actually has slightly more side armor. as opposed to this Sherman, which has a slightly thinner slide plating. Anyway, that's it for my rough review of my Tank Battle Redux tanks. So, thanks for watching. My sense of humor makes dad jokes look good. Alright, I'm going to see if I can exit out of this without forcing you all to watch me